welcome back to episode 52 of Scar Bearers. I'm Chris DT Gordon. It is wonderful to have you here with me today. And as always, Nate and Britton Barron doing their post-production magic for my and your benefit. If you want them to help the, if you want them to help you on your project, and hopefully you don't stutter as worse as I did right then, or badly, or wow, I should almost start this over, but I'm not going to because it's not about perfection. It's about greatness. And so you can reach out to them at Nate Barron. Well, folks, you just heard me say pass on perfection and go for greatness. If you want that on a t-shirt, you can check that out at my new Pop and Tag store, which is actually called Tag and Pop Store. Wow, I'm just batting 1,000 today. You can find that and many other things at the linktr.ee/Chris DT Gordon site. I have my podcast, I have my YouTube channel, a few speaking websites, my other social media handles, and the store, which actually is called the Chris DT Gordon's Tag and Pop Store. You can find information and lots of merchandise that features this lovely logo up there, my pass on perfection, go for greatness, and other things. So I hope you go and check that out. Well, today, my new friend and fellow NF warrior, Ty Stingel or Stingel?
Stingel, you had it right the first time.
Stingel, right, okay. I should have asked beforehand, but you know what? Sometimes it's fun just to go off the cuff and embarrass myself a little bit about doing a mispronunciation. How are you, Ty?
I'm doing very well.
Excellent. All right. And you are up in Canada, correct?
Yeah, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Excellent. What's the weather like today?
It's beautiful, but Calgary, you wait 5 minutes and can turn around because of the mountain weather. So you never know.
You know, I wish Minnesota had that excuse of having mountains. It's pretty flat here, but yeah, we have similar weather patterns where if you are sick of something, just wait a few minutes and you'll get something else. So as I mentioned before, Ty, we are brothers from another doctor. We are fellow NF warriors, and every warrior has their, as I like to call it, their origin story. You know, everyone who's listened to this podcast knows I've scratched the back of my right hand on my garage wall. But how did you become part of the vaunted brethren of the NF tribe? What was your life like before you contracted?
Well, I was author and a missionary for a while, and I was writing a book at the time that's still on the shelf. But then I got bit by a spider, and which enacted the bacteria, and it started 4 surgeries in 9 months.
Oh, wow. So now let's go back a bit. You said that before you were bitten by the spider, and I'm going to guess that your real name is not Peter Parker, right?
No, it's not.
Okay, just making sure, because if I see someone flying around a costume in Calgary, I'm going to wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
So you said before you contracted NF that you were an author. What kind of books do you write?
Well, I actually did a book on my story, like from when I was a child. Like I went through brain surgery. I went through 7 surgeries by the time I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
And they found a cyst when I was 11 months old and had to operate on my brain. And so, yeah, in the last surgery, I got my head rammed under a school desk when I was in grade 1 and had to go for major surgery. But so it was our family story, my story. So I learned how to be an entrepreneur and how to sell a book, how to write a book, how to speak. So yeah, a jack of all trades.
It sounds like it. Indeed. And so you also said you were a missionary. Where have you traveled in your missions?
I've in Canada, in Montreal, in Quebec, and then also in, that was a short term, and then long term, which as a student I was in Mexico City,
Okay.
and worked in an urban setting, 23 million people.
And
So
that's a pretty big town. And a town is,
it's a
you know,
city.
underselling it a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
metropolis.
metropolis. So it, um, yeah, they had me in 5 locations in 13 weeks, and I learned a lot about that work. And then I've also done pastoral work as well, and then, so I've had a varied background.
Yeah, sounds like it. If you don't mind me asking, which religion does it serve?
Well, it's Christian and apostolic and e- evangelical free. When my first degree, that was just through the school I was going to. So yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's in Mexico City. If you're not Catholic, and some of these families had become Protestant, they only had each other, a small
Mhm.
little church and stuff I had. So you get appreciative of what you have here in, either the US or Canada, like, because I got relatives in the States too, and I've seen big churches there
Yeah.
as well. I got family in Seattle, and yeah, it's quite a difference. But yeah, it was a very unique experience. So
Okay. Well, I'm happy you were able to have those experiences. Now, was the fateful spider bite, was that did you experience that while on a mission?
no, I was just on furlough basically, and just visiting my parents,
Mm.
and also, so guess they had some spider issues, I guess, in their basement. I just got bit,
Mm.
and the chills and the fever and everything that comes with necrotizing fasciitis before you get really, really sick
Mhm.
started happening, and throwing up, and then that uh, my mom, being a nurse, got me to the local hospital that transferred me to a bigger city hospital, and they did emergency surgery on me.
Okay. Now, where was this located on your body?
It's my right leg.
Okay.
Uh, they've On the 4 surgeries I've had, they've there's 64 staple or stitch marks.
Mm.
So they got both sides of the leg and took calf muscle to save my leg.
Oh wow. So when you go to the beach, it looks like you have to tell people a shark story, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Just yeah, yeah. And the one of the kind of the repercussions of the surgery is, um I have, blood flow issue in
Mhm.
my leg, so I get swelling.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I can't run as fast as I used to.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But and then 9 months later I got it again, and
Oh
it
wow.
was going into the second 2 surgeries, and it was just going to see my nephew play hockey, and the hotel we had a hot tub,
Ooh.
and I caught it again. Uh,
Now, did you have an open wound when you went into the hot tub?
no, no, nothing like that. Nothing. Just the bacteria, some bacterial reaction, whatever chemicals they have in a hot tub, and then that my my leg, and I was within, I don't know, about not even a day, I was in for surgery again back in Red Deer. And
Wow.
we were in BC at the time. So we
Okay.
had to hustle back.
BC being Vancouver.
uh yeah, more Kelowna area.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but yeah, it was 9 months I'd rather forget.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just writing down a note here. Stay out of Canadian hot tubs. All right.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
And
It's
and basements.
yeah, no, it's just, no, it was just one of those things. And your the rehab process took me a year and a half till
Mm.
I really learned how to walk again properly.
So, what were you like? How long was it before you were able to even walk? With an aid.
Well, I was the first go around. They had me walking with basically my IV pole,
Hmm.
like around the nurses, and they were saying, "Well, go a couple times, like a day."
Okay.
And I'm not that patient, and I'm just that stubborn. I got myself up to 12, 14 times around the nurse's station a
Nice.
day. And they tried me with um like I went with a walker, but I went from a walker to walking on my leg because I just hated a cane.
Hmm.
And I'd rather walk in pain than walk awkwardly and clumsily with a cane.
Yeah. Gotcha. I remember I went from a walker to a cane, but I didn't stay on the cane very long. It was quickly walking with a walker, then cane, then like maybe shortly after cane, it was right to just my own power. And
Yeah,
so yeah.
but yeah, my first surgery though for the flesh eating, the very first one, I went. They had to try 7 antibiotics on me before
Mm,
one worked,
okay.
like that I didn't react to. And then I also, um, my mom said you tapped out, like you died on the table twice and came
Oh
back.
wow.
So it's a miracle I'm talking to you now.
Yes, yes indeed.
So yeah, it was quite the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual experience.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, do you have any visions of you looking down on yourself on the table, like some people claim to have?
Well, it was a kind of a bright light type of experience,
Okay.
and my maker telling me you're not done yet. And the next thing I know, 2 days later, I woke up after my surgery.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's, if some people believe in some in that in that, and some people don't, and that's up to them.
Yep.
And they they have their faith and I have mine, and
Yep.
I respect. Like, I've got a degree in intercultural studies. It's like an anthropology degree. So I've taken about all the different world religions and cultures. So I I have a lot more respect um, than maybe the average churchgoer does. For
I think that's good because I think one tenet of almost every religion, at least ideally, should be empathy.
Yeah,
And to have the ability to see another person's point of view is a great way to be a communicator. And so I think that's very important.
yeah, yeah. And so, and I'm fortunate that I have, like, I'm a single guy, but I'm fortunate that I have parents that have been there through it all. They've seen me through surgeries and through a few things in life, and some triumphs too. But and my birth mother just found me like maybe 2 years beforehand.
Hmm.
So I was having my first NF surgery, and my youngest nephew was born in the middle of my two NF surgeries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so yeah, I was happy and sad all the same. And they didn't know what, because my sister was 12 days overdue.
Okay.
She had a C-section, and he was 11 pounds.
Oh, yep. That's yeah. We had our first son at 10.5. So yeah, they when they come that big, you definitely that's probably the way to go. But
Yeah,
I'm sure that was quite the emotional roller coaster for you and your family.
yeah, and uh sometimes I think it was harder on them than it was me.
Hmm.
It was like, okay, so I live now, I got work to do. Like, I gotta get my stuff together and start my rehab. Like, I'm still breathing, okay, there's work.
Yes, yeah, yeah. This is my new job for the time being. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think you're also correct about it was harder for them because remember my wife and my brother who flew in from Michigan. I live in Minnesota. My brother flew in from Michigan when I was in the when during the first week and a half I was in the hospital, and they would regale me with stories of them crying and relying on each other when the doctors would say, well, we're not out of the woods yet, or we're going to have to take his arm. And so yeah, it's eye-opening for a survivor to hear how others have gone through their situation.
well, the doctor told my mom that if they hadn't got me to the hospital and got the OR books when they did, a half hour later, they would have had to take my leg.
Oh, wow.
And I was prepared for, them doing anything to me. I'm just like, okay, as long as I'm breathing at the end, that was, like, and then I was also preparing for that, and my poor mom, she said, I can't believe you were thinking like that. And I said, well, I was scared. My body was out of control.
Mhm.
My whole system was out of control. That was the only way I could uh calm my fears.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the weirdest things that bring you peace and center you in a situation like that. So,
Yeah, yeah,
it takes anything, and sometimes to get you to that place.
yeah. And I've got two sisters and a brother, and I've got five nephews and a niece. So like, a lot of them were worried about brother and uncle. So
Well, I'm happy that they were able to get a happy ending to that story.
yeah. To be there's lots of miracles along the way between my surgeries as a kid that I came out of that, and then also my birth mom and my half brother and sister were hit by a semi
Oh,
and
wow.
survived.
Ooh,
Their car spun out, and their cuts and scrapes, that's it.
wow, that's amazing.
And like, long before I met them, like in the 80s.
Hmm.
And so, like, you just never know when something will happen, and when you survive traumatic things. So,
Yeah. So, Ty, what are you up to now?
well, I'm doing, like, I've just finished an internship in from East Central Alberta. I was at a little town of 2,500 doing a pastoral internship. And because of COVID, there's no job opportunities opened up for young pastors. Or so right now I moved back to Calgary, and my dad has been. We had to move him to long-term care because of having a stroke, and also brain aneurysm a
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
few
that.
few years ago, and my mom took care of him for nearly 3 years.
Mm,
Like and then you just got too much.
yeah.
So I'm helping her out, and then got these businesses. I've got a sales and distribution business that I'm starting up, and also trying to start up a YouTube channel here. So
I heard that. Congratulations.
new ventures.
It's amazing what this pandemic has brought, because that's the whole reason why I have a YouTube channel and a podcast, is because I decided I want to become a speaker last January. And then soon after I made that decision, COVID hit, closed down all the venues I wanted to speak at. And so I decided, well, I have to hone my skills somehow. Why don't I start a podcast? And so here we are, about almost a year later. So it's pretty interesting how life makes you pivot and where it takes you.
Yeah, well, I was in my internship that I got to speak once a month at the church, and so it helped me craft messages. Like, and when I was a kid, like 18, 19, I did Toastmasters, which is a public speaking course,
Yeah.
and I was the youngest person there by at least 10 years. So it was, my my mom and my dad said, for someone that had as many difficulties in life, you seem to throw yourself into things head first, and that's just been my life. Like, you only go around once, and you you have to make adjustments.
Yes, indeed. And you have to have some fun on the way too. And
Absolutely.
best way to have fun is to have new experiences.
Yeah, that's, and I had to tell my story, like, for public speaking, and it being a scary thing. I had to tell my story when I was in Mexico 7 times, and 6 times I had an interpreter, and then I was in a language school, and the people that I was staying with, well, the guy said, well, you're going to do this in Spanish. And so I had to write it out in Spanish and speak it in Spanish at a venue. And thank goodness his son spoke English. It helped me get through it. But that was one of the scariest things I've ever done for public speaking.
So
Speaking.
was that after you contracted NF?
No, that was before.
Okay.
You know, but a buddy of mine, when he was on his mission, he was in Africa, and he got bit by a king cobra.
Ooh.
And thank God they had the anti-venom on them, because it would have killed him in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was a like a big fella, 6'5", but it doesn't matter. When you get bit by one of those things, you better have the anti-venom.
Yes.
Now he's a lawyer in the UK. So
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Dealing with other snakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're both lawyers, him and his wife. So it's
Okay.
yeah. But no, I was fortunate. I only had food poisoning. That was the worst I got when I was in Mexico.
Okay. All right. I was just thinking, how can you, how do you say necrotizing fasciitis in Spanish?
Oh,
That's why I was asking if you had performed it after your NF. So, Ty, if someone were to gain some insight from your experience, what would you give them? What would you use to inspire them?
well, what I would use to inspire them is don't give up. Like uh never don't like never give up. It's because nothing is as bad as it seems. And when you think it's bad, there's always somebody that's got it worse off than you.
Mhm.
And like I since I've had NF, I've had people, friends that have passed away. I've had friends that have had bouts of cancer. And it's like, um, if you can get out of yourself, your own situation, and encourage somebody else, it makes your life that much richer. It makes you fight that much harder in your own journey.
Yes, I agree. And that's some good advice. Thanks for sharing that, Ty. So if someone wanted to check you out or ask you questions or maybe look for this up and coming podcast, where would they go?
Well, I don't have the address yet for the podcast and everything, but if they want to ask me questions about it, they can go to either my Facebook uh, page at Tylor, Tylor. It's the English spelling. Stingel is my last name. Or they can go to my Twitter page at Ty, and then last name Stingel for any more information as I'm putting it together.
Excellent. All right. And a question I always love to ask my guests, and the audience loves to know the answer to this. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And why T Rex?
Well, because he's a badass. Like he's big, he's tough. Like things bounce off him. So
That works. That works. Well, Ty, thank you very much for your time and your story. I greatly appreciate it.
take care.
Thank you. And if you want to reach out to me and find out what's going on in my neck of the woods, again, it's linktr.ee/Chris DT Gordon. You can check out my speaking websites, the podcast, the YouTube channel, my Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, my online store. You can also look for the book Blue Talks Presents Business Life in the Universe Volume 3. That's on there as well. Please like and subscribe this episode and my other episodes. It really helps me get the message out. So messages like Ty's and other people's can be heard by those who need to hear those words of inspiration. All right, everyone. Thanks for your time. Please have a great day. And remember to pass on perfection and go for greatness.